Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. I am Gigi and this is the Beauty of Business. This is a channel where we discuss all things business. I'm talking about online marketing, social media, strategies, sales, leads, even our own mental health, because sometimes it can get a little crazy and I totally understand. I'm a serial entrepreneur and I've had many businesses and a lot of them are still in existence for the last several years. So I definitely understand what it's like to run a business from home or even in general, run a business in this pandemic, which has really had a lot of people struggling. But I think it's an amazing opportunity for businesses to pivot, as well as businesses to really hone in their customer base and really ask, what does my customer need? So if you are thinking about starting a business, or if you already have a business and you really are looking for ways to bring in new customers and bring in more leads, this is a channel for you. Make sure to subscribe to my channel because I will be uploading every week on Monday. And make sure to like this video so that I can know to create more content like this. Let's get started. So today's video is on branding and how you should be identifying your brand. What is a brand? You know, no one really understands what branding is other than the fact when I say, do you have a brand? Their answer is, I have a website. That's not a brand, that is a website. A brand is really composed of the company culture, your client, their background of your client, your target audience, the way that your product or service makes somebody feel, and what is the solution that you do best or better than anybody else on the planet. That encompasses your brand. That is not the same as having a button-down websites. Websites are great, and we definitely need websites. My company helps with websites, but at the same time, a lot of people come to me and they're like, I want a new website. And I go, great. And then I go, okay, who's your customer base? What are you selling? What do you do? Tell me about you. And that's when the conversation gets quiet, because a lot of people haven't done that soul-searching research, and it really needs to start with the company. So first off, before you hit the button and you start making websites or you start going into logos, is you really need to think about your own company. To identify your own brand, you need to understand your own company's culture as well as their mission. And that's really important, and that's kind of one of the key things when you're looking at brand identity. So when you're looking at branding and you're looking at your company, there's a few things that you need to think about before you start the logo process and even your brand colors. And one of them is, what does your company bring to the marketplace? For example, Uber, Lyft, right? They do kind of the same thing. They get you to your destination. They have someone else pick you up in their car with their insurance. And Uber and Lyft both take a cut from that ride, and that's how they make a profit. What is the difference? When you think about Uber, you might have a certain reaction. When you think about Lyft, you might have a certain reaction. What is the reason people choose between using one or the other? And it's usually because of the type of client that is using Uber versus Lyft. People have preferences, whether that's because of their gender, their age, their place of business, where they work, their education level. So all those factors help develop a company's culture, and that is put into branding. So that's one thing that you should look at. The other thing is you want to make sure, how are you different from your competitor? A lot of times people start businesses, they will, number one, don't look at the marketplace, and number two, they don't really think about their competitor. There are people out there doing exactly what you're doing, probably better than what you're doing, or just have been doing it for a very long time. So your job is to figure out ways that you can innovate that industry, make it better, or maybe you're just doing it in a different way that's either not as cost effective, or you maybe are using organic products, for example, if you have an organic beauty company. There's lots of different reasons why somebody would choose your brand over the other, because of the fact that you are making a difference in the company that you have. So next, we get into the second part before you start the actual branding or developing your brand kit. In order to do this, you need to think about your customer. And this is my step number 2, which people a lot of the time kind of swift over and kind of jump into just creating those color schemes and, developing a logo. You really need to know who your target audience. So I'm talking about who is that customer that is coming to your door, or hopefully going to be coming to your door eventually once you open. A great way of doing this is doing some surveys, doing some test products, doing some giveaways, really hyping up your brand before you start going down the path of creating a company. Or if you have an existing company and you already have a customer base, you really need to hone down what it is, those things that make your customers who they are. So a lot of companies do this. So for example, it may be gender, it may be a background in terms of socioeconomic background. Are you really involved in the community where you're for middle America, for your everyday parent, example, if you're running a kid company, or are you selling a product that seems to be attracting, the luxury, high-end net worth client? And that's okay too, but you need to know who that client is. And then you need to study that client. So for example, if you're selling luxury car washes, high-end car washes, detailing for exotic cars. Maybe all of your clients are male who make over 125K. They live in a certain part of the country. They have more than one vehicle. Where does that customer shop besides your store? Besides that car wash that you're doing, where do they go for clothing? What do they eat? What are the restaurants they go to? Do they shop online? Do they prefer to call in for the store? Do they prefer to use cash? Are they using credit? These are things that you need to know about your customer, and then you can make that experience a lot easier because then you're really honing in on who they are. Remember, your brand is not about you, it's about your customer. And my last tip for when you're developing your brand is you have to find your secret sauce. And I really, really love this tip because it really gives me a chance to talk to business owners and get to know them a bit. What makes you different than everybody else? It could be you have an amazing journey and story from where you started to where you are now. People love to hear journeys, and they love to hear how people maybe went through a very difficult time and they overcome that and are now in a much better, happier, healthier place. That's something that you should be proud of, and you should really hone that in on that. And that's part of your journey, and it's also part of your company's journey. Number 2, it could be, let's say you're part of a family business. People love to bring back nostalgia. So if I see a company and it's been around for 6 generations, they must be doing something right. I know that everybody is invested in that company is most likely a family member. If family members are still on the board or they still work the day-to-day operations, they really care about their family's legacy and they want their company to continue for the next few generations. So that's something that you should really, if you have that, hone that up too. So whether it's you starting your company from scratch or you're building upon a brand that your parents or grandparents or even grandparents have designed, that's something you should really hone in. So whatever it is that makes you different, maybe it's the types of products that you're sourcing. Maybe you only source from a particular town in Italy. People love to hear stories about where things are from. So whether that's a bath product, a beauty product, even food, people love to hear that journey from maybe a different part of the world from where they are. I know I love hearing about that, and that's one of the reasons why I buy certain products, because I want to know where my stuff is coming from. So whether you're in food or beauty, for that industry, it's really important to tell where your products come from. Are they organically sourced maybe, or are they from a particular town? Is there a unique way of how you make them? These are things that, if any of these apply to you, that is part of your special sauce. So now that you have my 3 tips on things that you need before you actually start your branding of your company, now we can get into actually branding. And one of the first things that you need to do before you even start looking for a designer for your logo is really start with a mood board. Mood boards are really easy to make, and I think it's a really good idea to start with that. When clients come to me, I always start with mood boards because I really like to know what kind of company and the tone you're taking. Are you taking a more playful side? Are you taking a more serious side? And this goes back to that target audience and knowing who your customer is. If you don't know who your customer is, you don't know if they like kind of that fun, playful experience, or if they basically want an experience of seamless professionalism. You really need to know that, because that's going to affect how you come across and who you bring in depending on your messaging. So one of the things I love to do is I tell people, look at magazines, look at pictures online, go on Pinterest, get things that really appeal to you. If you're walking around your town and you see colors and you see a image that really resonates with you and that's what your brand represents, take a picture of that and then put all that information on a digital mood board, and then you can finally move into bringing about your colors. And your colors is really important because colors actually have a psychology behind them. Everybody responds to colors differently, and humans are very keen on this. So for example, I always tell people, what color do you mostly see in a hospital? And it's blue. It's blue and it's white. Blue, or blue-green, is because it's representation of tranquility, health, vibrancy. It also represents safety and calm. And when you're going in the ER or you're going into a situation where it's very high stress, or the person may be anxious because they're having surgery, they want to feel calm. So most ERs, the doctors are wearing blue. Blue is kind of that color of being calm and cool and collective. And green is a color of trustworthy and being trustworthy and loyal, and you really want to trust your doctors. So that is the reason you see those two colors most likely in most hospitals across the world. Versus an ambulance, obviously most of the time there's red, red flashing lights, which basically means that there's an emergency, something is wrong, high alert, there's energy, it's stop or fast or just go. So it's usually meaning something is happening and you have to get on it right now. When you see red in marketing, it means it could be spicy, it could be, if it's a food product, it could be a very distinctive taste, it could be passionate if it's a product for couples or love. But it's a very invigorating color. You don't want to use red when you want to calm someone down, or your product or service, the solution is to bring them to a place of calm. So you have to think about the emotion that people are coming in with. A hospital, people are coming in under very high stress and anxiety. The solution is you want to bring them down into a state of tranquility and calm. So that is the reason they chose the color blue and shades of blue, because they want to affect the mood that the person is coming in with, and they want to give them a different mood to solve their problem. So that's how you solve the issue of colors before you get into designing your color palette as well as your logo. Thank you so much for watching my video today. If you really love this video, make sure to subscribe and like it so I can keep sending out new videos once a week on the beauty, the ugly of business, as well as if you're interested in actually having a one-on-one conversation with me. I'm doing our strategy calls for new businesses looking to kind of spruce up and make sure they're ready to get online, as well as existing businesses who want to strengthen their online presence. So make sure to go down below in the description box below and make sure to click the link where it says strategy call, and it will send you to my calendar so that you guys can make an appointment with me. And I love to hear from you. I love working with businesses. It's truly an honor, and I love seeing other businesses thrive. So I will see you guys here next time, and have an amazing week. Bye.